It's good to be back again with you on What Matters on Inter International. My name is Nneka Michael. We will be discussing Nigerian housing deficit, challenges and efforts by the government to ameliorate the inadequacy in that sector. Stay with us as we are definite in giving you the best of what matters in Nigeria. How deep is Nigeria's housing deficit, and what has the government put in place to bridge this gap? Let's take this feature on Nigeria's housing situation.
Nigeria is a country with over 200 million population, blessed with arable landmass that cut across each zone of the country. However, rapid urbanization and population growth in some of its cities are creating challenges coupled with scarce resources which have not been able to square up with human growth. From a valuable report by World Bank in 2013, over 55% of population growth constitutes urban migration to developed and developing cities in Nigeria, and this population has been rising, depleting available manpower in the rural areas, which in turn affects food sufficiency in the country. Nigeria's housing deficit is estimated around 16 million units, and it requires more than 56 trillion to provide the 16 million housing units to bridge the housing deficit at a conservative cost of 3.5 million per unit in the country.
For example, the Chapter 2 of Nigerian Constitution, the fundamental objective and derivative principle of state policy made it clearly that provision of houses are primary purpose of governance. But you find out that there is no synergy between the local government, the state government, and federal government on provision of the houses. That is number one. Number two, Nigerians have never, the government have never actually termed, Nigerians have never actually seen housing as a problem in this country. That is why we are having the problems.
Maybe they must have planned. They say social houses, social places will be built for civil servants, but at the end of the day, it's no recharge to the civil servants. That is the problem that we are having. Instead of government to follow it up until the aim of the government is achieved, they will not. And before you know, another government will come and they will take over from there.
The problem is lack of political will. Political will to implement this type of policies.
Notwithstanding the situation of housing in Nigeria, it is understandable that the Nigerian government has a housing policy in place which has been followed by successful governments.
The last one that comes to mind is under Alhaji Jakande the late Alhaji Jakande of Lagos State. He put in place a beautiful housing project that most people benefited from in Lagos State. And nobody has taken cue of what this man has done, even at the federal level.
It's been estimated that between the year 1973 to 2006, over 30,000 housing units were built by the Federal Housing Authority, FHA, to level up the housing deficit in Nigeria. But this step was like a drop in an ocean. From 1999 to 2007, housing was prioritized as a welfare policy for Nigerians. Many houses that belonged to the government were sold to workers, while those occupying existing government houses were asked to purchase them. Also, from 2009 to 2015, public-private partnership was embarked on by the government to provide affordable houses for Nigerians. However, that approach did not resolve the housing situation in the country.
Government has no business organizing housing for civil servants. All the government can do is stand as a collateral for you to negotiate with the private sector to own your own house. Go to the US. That is how it is done. Government will sit down and just come and say, okay, we are you, we are behind you, give him this loan. We will guarantee that loan. And that is how it is done. But for government to come in and process, organize and arrange housing project loans for you, most civil servants may compromise. And when they start compromising, corruption sets in. And when corruption sets in, the program becomes a failure.
Housing is one of the lucrative businesses with multiplier effects in every sector of the economy. It therefore means much is required to get it right in order to engage the complementary sectors.
And I think the earlier we start, realigning and rethinking towards making sure that the citizenry are appropriately provided. The highest thing Nigerians need now is housing and food. Food they can provide for themselves, but how government can do that? If government start providing housing, it will reduce the level of crime in this country, it will reduce the level of poverty in this country.
A lot of space has been opened for private investors in the housing subsector, where millions of housing units have been built. Unfortunately, many of these houses are exorbitant due to the high cost involved.
Now, what you have to find out is, number one, who owns these houses? A lot of the houses you are seeing that are owned by private individuals, and some of them are luxury houses where you spend up to 50 million, 30 million, 100 million to acquire. Nigerians don't have such amount of money. What we need is low-cost houses. How many low-cost houses have you seen in Nigeria that are not being, that people are not, are not actually in it? So most of the houses that are empty in Nigeria are the ones that are built by private individuals or private companies for their benefits, for business purposes. What we are looking at, low-cost houses. Nigeria needs low-cost houses, and low-cost houses can be provided by synergy between the local, the state, and the federal government. They have the resources, they have the technical know-how to provide it. Very simple. It's not a rocket science. Building a house does not take you 2-3 weeks. You can get as much as 10,000 houses in every state.
No matter the roles each party will play, the fact remains that Nigerians are in need of affordable housing, and having investors to do that will create employment opportunities along the value chain within the housing subsector.
On this issue, we sought the opinion of an estate developer on how to resolve some of the silent issues in the housing subsector.
Housing is a basic need for everyone, and the desire for comfort in one's life can be attained with an affordable house. This is the aspiration of any worker, right from the day he or she was employed. As a result, the least anyone can ask for is not a bungalow, but a shelter that can be affordable in relative to his or her earnings.
Affordable housing is an housing scheme provided for household within 30 and less than 30% of the person's income. That is to say, it could be a laborer, it could be a director, it could be a lower cadre earner, but anything you are putting on housing should be not more than 30% of your income. That means it's affordable. And that is usually achievable through a mortgage system, where you pay little by little over the years and you become that house owner. So it is affordable because it does not take too much of what you earn, and you have the other percentage, 70 or more percentage of your income, to take care of other things like school fees, feeding, and other things. But in a situation whereby you spend far more than 30% on housing, it's no longer affordable. And that is what we're having in Nigeria right now.
In a society where multiple challenges are before the government, ranging from insecurity to education, economy to health, the list seems endless, whereas the citizens still look up to the government in providing affordable housing as a fundamental human right. But how feasible can this be achieved?
It is the responsibility of government to provide, but not their own sole responsibility, in the sense that government cannot even face housing provision for all the citizens on their own. But their major responsibility lies on providing an enabling environment for developers, improving on our mortgage system, providing infrastructures, then making our land administration to work very well. Because almost in all states, almost everywhere, our land administration is very poor. You cannot access land easily. We're having this problem of landowners between the original dwellers and government. We're having problem of even the government, the state, and the federal government. So all these problems are there, which government is supposed to address. Nigerians are so good that we are ready to develop our houses within our income, source of income, especially private business owners. But when there are no infrastructure, there is no good road, no potable water, no electricity. So it puts a challenge on it. But this is the aspect of government. If government is able to address all these other infrastructure provisions, open up the policy, land policies, make it accessible right from your house. You can submit an application and they can call you that, okay, your application is successful, come and take your land, pay your charges, and all these are done seamlessly. Then that's the aspect of government. Then the private owners, private partnership can now come in.
Be that as it may, the Nigerian workers' demand for affordable housing from the government may not be out of place, owing to the fact that in the past, these welfare services were provided by the government to the people.
In the time past, we have all these policies. We have owners occupier, even during, which is one of the things that Jakande did, and even former minister of Kutangura. They did all these owners occupier, one in Kuba, around Abuja axis. These are the things that have helped people in the time past. And look at the policy of Obasanjo when he sold out almost all government houses. That provided houses for those who had never had dream of having owned a house in this world. But again, where are we? How far have we gone? What of the money generated from all those houses sold? Then what is the position of Federal Housing Authority at the moment? Gwarinpa is the largest estate in West Africa before. I don't know the latest, but it used to be the largest estate. And how did it come out? It was solely developed by Federal Housing Authority. First thing was to provide all road networks and water, built by Strabag. Today, you can see how big Gwarinpa is. But where are the money? Where is the money spent? Where is the money generated? Why is the FHA not opening up another estate of that like mind? Not only in Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, but the big cities, Kano, Kaduna, so that when we have it, people access it easily, then the problem will be solved.
Following these spectrums of challenges in acquiring affordable housing, what then is the way forward?
The way forward, first, is government to review our mortgage system. Mortgage over the years has been, you can access up to 15 million naira as a civil servant loan. The question is, for what cadre? Is it accessible? Then the 15 million naira of how many years? Can it still be 15 million naira as we speak? That's one. Two, mortgage system should not only be for federal government workers. It has been narrowed down to government workers. So it's supposed to be widened up, even for private workers. If we are private workers, some of us even have approached Federal Mortgage Bank. The next thing they ask us, where are you working? Where is your letter of employment? Once you don't have it, you can't access it. And it's just because of our poor database. Because also, if they want to give loan, they don't know how to track you for you to pay your loans. Number two, our land administration needs to be addressed properly. Land is a problem. We need to move away from knowing who somebody in power before you can access land. Land is a very big problem. Once you can get the land real as it's supposed to be, then you have gone less than, 50% into the problem has been solved. Again, is our planning. We are not designing housing for we Nigerians. We are building houses that we copy from Europeans or Americans or whatever. We need to build our own houses. Because somebody who is just need a room and a parlor, like one toilet, the same person wants to live in a house that you have 3 toilets, guest toilets, 2 toilets. All those things increase the cost of construction. So we need to look at our design and design the way we live.
It is certain that housing is a necessity for everyone, which should be provided by the government. But in these present circumstances, where population growth is on the rise and other phenomenon competing for attention with the government, not much can be done. In this regard, other stakeholders can come in to assist in providing the needed housing units for the citizens.
Too many challenges to be resolved if only we want to reduce the housing deficit in the country. We'll go on a break. What Matters comes back in a moment. Welcome back. So, what is the government actually doing to increase the number of housing units in Nigeria? Let's get a view of the government. Thank you for joining us. Can you explain Nigeria's mortgage system?
Well, the Nigerian mortgage system, as you quite well know, that mortgage system commences in the colonial era, when we have the Nigerian Building Society. That was when it was created. Nigerian Building Society was the institution that's providing mortgages for Nigerian workers at then. As you quite well know, that through the amalgamation of the two provinces, then the creation of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. When Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria was created, it was meant purposely to provide retail banking, retail end, providing mortgages directly to Nigerian workers by the most of the civil servants on both the federal and state level. That's why it was created. But over the years, towards 1992, there was a National Housing Fund scheme after the reforms of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Then even the reform of the Federal Mortgage FMBN Act was also reviewed. So the National Housing Fund scheme was created under an act of the National Assembly, whereby every Nigerian were mandated to contribute 2.5% of their monthly income into a pool of funds. It's from this pool of funds that the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria should be the source of funding, because FMBN was given the mandate to collect, manage, and administer the funds. So that is how the National Housing Fund scheme. With the creation of the National Housing Fund scheme, FMBN was restructured to be only a wholesale banking, which is the secondary mortgage market end of it, whereby primary mortgage institutions were created to provide the retail end. They are the ones to source for the off-takers, package them for the loans, and then forward it to FMBN for funding of that mortgages once they are NHF contributors. That's how it started.
And how is the FNBN intervening toward reducing housing deficit in the country?
Well, as you quite well know, that this housing deficit is increasing year in, year out. As you quite well know that the main vision of FMBN is to be the preferred mortgage institution that will provide reliable and affordable mortgages or home ownership for Nigerians. And when we say home ownership, it can be at any level of it. So FMBN is there to provide loans, affordable mortgages, affordable loans at 6%, which you can't find anywhere, and over a long period of time, because if it is no longer period, the low and media will not be able to access it. And it's given provided that they give you the loan to pay with their own monthly earnings. A portion of it, like 30% of your salary, is being used to offset the loans for up to a period of 30 years. So FMBN is the one that is giving the NHF mortgage at 6% for a period of up to maximum of 30 years, to which monthly deductions are made to the mortgagor. At the same time, you'll find that at FMBN, we produce a lot of other products. We give loans, affordable mortgages for Nigerians to first of all, renovate their own houses, or to buy their houses, or to build even their own houses. As you quite well know, that most of the people that build houses, they build incrementally. Someone can take 2-3 years before he finishes building his own house. So we created that mortgage window, whereby we can give you a loan to build your own house and then pay over a period of time, incrementally, and provided you meet most of the requirements. And we also provide mortgages for to buy your own house. You see a house somewhere where you want to buy, you approach a primary mortgage bank who will package your loans, and then we are there to buy that house, and then we create mortgage between us. You pay over a period of time.
How are you working in sync with other stakeholders, such as the Federal Ministry of Housing, private developers, among others, towards providing housing for all in Nigeria?
Well, we are collaborating very well with the Federal Ministry of Housing, because they are our regulators. Quite well, they provide the policy direction to which the housing sector should even work. And they have been providing that guidance to us to how we can even leverage on that. The first thing is the Ministerial Parallel Housing Scheme, where we are collaborating with the ministry. Ministry is providing free land to FMBN, and then we provide the funding, and developers, any private developer that is willing, can come and take it off and then construct some affordable houses for Nigerians, especially the low and medium income earners who are the contributors to the NHF. So this collaboration has gone very well. We have built over 3,000 houses through that collaboration, and we have funded it, and it's ongoing. The other collaborations through them is that the Honorable Minister was able to create the National Cooperative Housing Initiative. It's a cooperative loan whereby FMBN is mandated to provide cooperative housing development loan to cooperative societies, both in the formal and informal sector, for them to come forward for construction finance, to build houses for their cooperative members. And then when those houses are constructed, then we create mortgages through them. This is one of it that we are collaborating with them, especially with the ministry. We are collaborating with even the labor centers, the Nigerian Labour Congress, Trade Union Congress, and NECA, whereby we are collaborating into them. We are requesting all the state governors to give us 10 hectares of land in their own vicinity, so that FMBN will go there through the developers. We finance the construction of affordable houses for Nigerians, and that has been on over time. We have built over 2,800 houses currently, and it's ongoing because we have started phase 2 of it. We are also collaborating with other stakeholders like the Family Homes Funds, whereby we sign an MOU that most of the social housing they are about to provide to Nigerians, FMBN will be there to purchase them and then create mortgages for those off-takers who need those houses. We are also collaborating with FISH, Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program, which is one of the agencies under the head of service of the Federation, whereby we provided some houses to them for their members of the FISH, who are mostly the federal civil servants. We are collaborating with any cooperative society within the country, whoever has the capacity to bring the off-takers on board, and then come forward to FMBN for us to provide construction finance for them to build houses for their own membership. And this collaboration is...
Thank you very much. good to know that the government is the one driving the policy of mass housing in Nigeria, and in no distant time, the country's housing deficit will be a thing of the past. We hope to see you in our next episode of What Matters. Goodbye.